morning, everybody. It's the moment. It's another week. We have, as always, my good friend, Meredith Lynch. And today we have our guest co-host, Jonquilyn Hill. I'm so excited to have you, Jonquilyn.
I am so excited to be here with y'all this morning. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Jonquilyn is the host of the Vox podcast, Explain It to Me. She was the host of the policy show, The Weeds, which I used to listen to all the time. And before that, like me, she was a public radio girly, senior producer at WAMU's 1A, also something that I used to listen to all the time. So like our dream policy guest girly.
Yeah, like I'm so happy to have been in your ears. I love audio. Like all of the mediums are special in their own ways, but not gonna lie, audio has my heart.
It had my heart and then broke my heart is the truth. And so now, you know, like I'm going through a divorce right now, really, with audio. But here we go. Now we're everywhere, always, all at once. I feel like that's the new audio game. So we got lots and lots to talk about. We're going to have April Ryan here in a minute to talk about all of these things happening. A judge threw out Trump's criminal charges against his political foes. He's going after Senator Mark Kelly. We've got Marjorie Taylor Greene. But first, I want to talk about like the salacious gossip. That's all I want to do. And so let's talk about RFK Jr., who here had to look up the word felching over the weekend.
I actually did not, and it's because of VH1.
Oh, wait, say more.
Okay, so I don't know if you all were like this. Instead of like going outside as a teenager during the summer, I would watch a lot of like, I love the 90s. I remember John Waters did an interview, and I don't know how this made it past the censors, but he talked about felching, and he said that is not something anyone actually does. People just say it for shock value. So imagine my surprise when it all came running back to me over this weekend.
Wow. Yeah, I guess John Waters is the place where you'd expect to learn what felching is. Meredith was also, I think, shocked by felching.
Yeah, I mean, like, I'm way too Catholic for that. Like, I grew up in a way where people would be like, blowjobs, that's just something people say they do. So for me, that one is a bridge too far. But when I heard about it, like, I will say, like, I am getting so woke that, like, my first reaction was, I was like, well, what if people want to do that, that's their business, and they can do that. The one thing that I will say about it is like, if you're going to do it, like be careful because the increases of STIs with it are very high. So it's just like, now I'm putting on like my, like, if you're going to do it, at least be careful hat. But what I found so interesting is like, if this is something that RFK Jr. is into, which like, you know, it does point in that direction. He should be the last one closing down Planned Parenthoods, okay? STI testing is more important than ever for this man. So I did have that feeling. And I also had this feeling of like, I don't need to know about this. And that's what I think one of the big headlines was back in the 90s as a kid who like consumed a lot of media. Like we'd be like, you know, I just don't need to know about the president and Monica Lewinsky. And now in hindsight, I'm like, well, you know, there was a power structure, et cetera. But it's like, I don't need to know about this. And this goes against everything that your party pretends to be about like family values and like, you know, sex is only for procreation, et cetera. And so that's what's like making me really uncomfortable with it. But I will also just say like RFK Jr. feels like he's on a tear right now. Did you guys see that? Like, it's heartbreaking that Tatiana Schlossberg has been diagnosed with terminal leukemia. She wrote a very pointed essay. I'm sure you both saw it in the New Yorker. And she specifically calls out her cousin for like all his misinformation. And then the next day he's like, RIP. Right.
Also for like cutting the research that was going towards her cancer treatment. I mean, like, it sounds like this was beyond what they were going to be able to do.
But like, and then the next day her uncle or her cousin, excuse me, is putting up like RIP to my uncle. Like, bold.
Just bold. I feel like the thing that connects all these stories. So like, in case anybody somehow missed this, is like Olivia Nuzzi was this sort of like darling, more than darling. She was like the hottest political journalist, both physically and in terms of her output in America. She was like covering all these big candidates. She had all these like titles and prestige, really young, hot blonde. And then it turns out she was having an affair with RFK Jr. Her then fiance, Ryan Lizza, also a big politics journalist, then puts out a Substack, and it turns out she was sleeping with multiple journalists. And all of this to say is like this combination now of politics and sleaze and pop culture and journalism, like it is all melded in a way that is like exactly what we want to talk about on this show. Is it's all the same thing. Is it's all Real Housewives vibes.
Oh yeah. I mean, it has been the talk of many a group chat. I remember when the first Lizza article dropped, because I think it was a Monday.
It was Monday.
I was sitting on my couch reading, and my phone was buzzing and going off. And I was thinking, okay, Potomac was last night. Salt Lake City is tomorrow. Normally, these group chats, that is what they get active about on a weeknight. And then I read the article, and it was like, oh, this is messy and very big. And then, like, and just so many, it's just such a cast of characters. Like Keith Olbermann chimed in.
Yeah, Keith Olbermann. How old was Olivia Nutsey when you guys started your torrid affair? Like how old was she? You know, like let's do the math here. She's 32 now. She's been with Lizza she was with Lizza for 10 years. She was with Olbermann for did you guys meet when she was 17 and you were like 52? My God, you know?
He's the Jerry Seinfeld of journalism.
Yeah.
No, but you know what's funny? I saw this headline very quickly, and I have to say I did not double click on it, but like it was like Keith Olbermann being like, I guess I dodged a bullet. And I wanted to be like, shut the fuck up. Like, shut the fuck up. Okay. Keep that. Like, you should be hiding right now, sir, for many reasons, but that's one of them.
Yeah, him inserting, I don't know. I think if I would like to, well, I'm pray to God I'm never in a situation like this. But I would like to think if my like ex were involved in a bunch of stuff, I would just be like, well, time to never speak of this.
Exactly.
They all keep like the only person not leaning into this is RFK. You know what I mean? Like they're all sort of leaning into it, which I think, by the way, says something about, you know, we were talking about this, Jonquilyn. It's like journalism has become like this complicated place where it used to be that you were like as removed as possible. You didn't have thoughts, opinions, personality. And now everything is like driven by personality. And so like Lizza probably got like the most conversion rate of any Substack in history with the word felching, because everybody was like, I guess I should give this guy my money.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if the subscriptions are up. And that is the very like odd and confusing thing. Like Nitsi, she's around our age, you know, like early 30s, mid 30s, your 30s. And early in our careers, it was very much like, hey, like you are not the story. Like people aren't even supposed to know who you are. Be careful what you tweet. Be careful where you are. Be careful where you stay. And now it really is personality driven. And I think it's because of a lot of the mediums. Like, you know, we're on TikTok, we're on Instagram, we're on YouTube, we're everywhere on the internet. And you do have to be sort of more of a personality. And I think there's this real question of like, okay, there's these old school journalistic principles, but also you got to get the attention. You got to get the, like, you got to be the shiny thing. How does that work?
I struggle with that line all the time. And something that I say a lot on this show, and then we can move on to another story, but something that I say a lot on this show is like, I have done journalism. I have my master's in it. Like, I really respect the craft of journalism. I'm not doing journalism on this show. On this show, I'm doing commentary. I'm making jokes. I'm sharing my opinion. I'm asking questions. But like, I do try and be like, there's a line. Like I'm not doing journalism in the traditional sense anymore. And I feel like very few people are really. I mean, I guess Jonquilyn, you still are.
Yeah, like I'm very like I will tell anyone like I gotta keep it cute. I keep it real cute, you know. And I think that sort of gets into like the conversation. I think especially with the conversation of objectivity, because I don't necessarily think objectivity is a thing. I think we all come to something with lived experiences, and it's about recognizing those lived experiences, talking to as many people beyond them. But even me saying that, like in 2013, that would have been like, whoa,
Right.
What do you mean we all have lived? Everyone in a newsroom has lived experiences, and we should all like consider them. Like that was scandalous then, and it's a totally different ballgame now. Like young journalists, people just leaving J school.
I know.
You're figuring it out as you go, because we're all figuring it out.
It's a very I think it's like, how do we carry the torch of like what we love about journalism while being realistic about what happens in the world? We have somebody awesome to talk about this, but really quick, what did you think about the Marjorie Taylor Greene resignation? I thought this was like another one of those things that I was like, whoa, was not expecting this.
My first instinct was, oh my gosh, like, what does this say about the future of the MAGA Republican Party? Like, the big players are in a fight for its soul. I mean, she and Trump fell out of favor. She probably would have ended up primary because Trump is the big draw of the Republican Party right now. And yeah, I think 2026 is going to be interesting, but 2028, we are really going to, like, what does the Republican Party, what does MAGA look like without Trump as its figurehead?
I just saw a headline that said that Erica Kirk is putting Turning Point USA behind JD Vance, which like nobody is surprised of, but like it is the official move. And I thought that it was interesting that came out today after Marjorie Taylor Greene, because like I stick to this. I really believe that Marjorie Taylor Greene is gearing up for a run in 2028. I think she's saying like, I'm more MAGA than MAGA. I'm like the America First candidate, and I'm so repulsed by what's happening that I have to exit. Like, that's my read of it, and that might be cynical, but I do think like all these players are trying to figure out like, what does this look like in a post-Trump world? Because November was a bad month for Trump. Like, say what you will, but like it started with elections. Democrats swept, and I do think Republicans saw, and they were like, he wasn't on the ballot, and that's bad for Republicans. Then the Epstein files. Now this, Lindsay Halligan, can't take prosecutions. I think it's been a bad month for him, and it seems like they're all starting to be like, what do we do next?
Yeah, it's like, how do you they won the election. They were like, we have a mandate, and it's like, oh, what do we do now that we've won? How do we do this?
Yeah.
Well,
Meredith,
y'all, we have a what's that?
I thought you had a thought about Marjorie Taylor Greene.
No, I mean, what is there to like? It's just it's one of those things where I'm like, I think we're just gonna have to wait and see. And I think like, maybe it's like that move away from MAGA to America First is gonna be the like headline, and it's like, are you MAGA or are you America First?
Yeah,
it's gonna be like the wearing of the pin that we had years ago. And so is MAGA is just like not holding the same weight that it used to, perhaps.
I think so.
It's going to be a great question to ask our guest.
Yeah, we have with us, I truly like legendary April D. Ryan. She's been a White House correspondent for 5 different presidents, for 5 different presidential administrations. She is like all up in there. She's a political analyst at MS Now, and she is the host of her own show and looking freaking fabulous. Tea with April Ryan joins us today.
Hello, guys. I am like fascinated about this conversation, and I'm trying to bring you some Paris, but I look like a Black Panther for some strange reason.
I think both works. I'm for both. Well, I think all of those.
Today has been a very interesting day because I'm reeling from what happened yesterday at the White House. We'll probably get into that.
Oh yeah.
Well, so let me say this. I'm still a radio nerd. I started out in radio. I was a jazz DJ at WEAA in college. I started out in 1985. You're talking about age, so you can kind of do the math. And then Real Housewives. I've been on Potomac twice.
Living my dream.
So,
what were you doing on Potomac?
But I was around for the Ken Starr report. That was the first publicized federal government authorized porn. You're talking about this other stuff. I'm not even going to call its name. But think about this. Back I'm serious. It was like we told a whole generation of kids who were sitting in the car with their moms going to school about certain ways of sex. And, I was like, after that, we heard a whole bunch of stuff about that. And it was, living through that was crazy. Reporting through that was crazy. That's when, like, the people who came out and broke the story on Drudge or talked about, they're the ones who were famous. A lot of us still melded into the woodwork, but now you're right, Jonquilyn, that now in order for people to look at your story, you have to be somebody that they know, they can trust, and you get clicks. It has so changed. I mean, I remember when we started, we had flip phones, and we didn't, don't laugh, okay? No, we had flip phones, and all the documents, be it the briefing transcript, be it a proclamation, etc., they would come out on these legal size pages. And I kept saying, so many trees died for this. And then 9/11 changed the dynamic. We went to those who could talk to people were on Blackberries. Remember those?
Yes.
Because everybody else had a flip phone, and the only way you could talk to people during 9/11 when everything was shutting down was on a Blackberry. Then we started getting, at the White House, we started getting information on our phones. And I mean, I started at the White House when Al Gore claimed he invented the internet. George W. Bush called it the internets, right? Clinton wasn't using a computer at the time. George W. Bush, but then Barack Obama came in, changed the game. He had his Blackberry. He was on Facebook. Actually, Donald Trump, he'll probably be mad about this, but Donald Trump followed behind Barack Obama because I'll never forget, Newt Gingrich said, we have to figure out how to dominate social media and the internet like Barack Obama did. Not only did they dominate, they've taken the whole thing over. So I have seen a shift. I mean, you're talking about how we are not supposed to be seen. Now we're seen. Now we're the story. We're not supposed to be the story. We're supposed to sit there and write and give you your life, what you understand about it and what's going on there. It has flipped over these 28 years.
It has flipped. Okay, so that leads me into like 12 different questions that I was going to ask you, but I feel like maybe one place to start is I thought about this because we have you, is the Clintons were subpoenaed over the Epstein files, right? Like that happened. You've been covering them since they were in the White House. Do you think that this is something that they can dodge? Like, how do you think the Clintons deal with this? Is this finally the moment the Clintons get?
I'm going to say this, and let's use this premise. Donald Trump, even if you knew somebody who was a friend of Epstein and you casually met him, your name is now involved some kind of way. There's some people who are actually involved, and there's some people who are just by circumstance. But one thing we do know about Donald Trump, and he said it at Charlie Kirk's funeral, I hate my opponents. That funeral where they were singing praises to God and everything, and then here comes Trump. I hate my opponents. One thing you know about this man, well, I know, if I'm going down, I'm taking you with me.
Yeah.
So whether it's contrived, whether it's real, I mean, the first 50 pages of the daggone report, you can't even read it, but it's supposed to be transparent. So we have to wait and see what's what. And if indeed they are subpoenaed, what are they subpoenaed for? Let's see the pages. And that might reveal a lot more. You understand what I'm saying? So we just have to watch this process play out. And Marjorie Taylor Greene, oh, poor thing. What is it? Bad Built Butch Body? You didn't know what you were going to get here. Marjorie Taylor Greene, let's look at the facts. And AOC said this first, and it wound up being true because Donald Trump said it. The only reason why AOC turned on Donald Trump is because he did not support her U.S. Senate run. And so she went in hard. Her boyfriend is still at the White House, though.
That's
And I was
right.
shocked. He came in yesterday. I was shocked. He kept going out on the phone, and I was wondering if he was talking to her. But I was doing my little report. I was like, But here's the thing. Let me tell you something. You want some tea? I'm gonna give you some tea. You're not ready. You're not ready for my truth. So anyway, so Marjorie Taylor Greene got caught up. She went so hard on her former friend, who's now saying, "Oh, she's a good person." No, Donald Trump does not want any light to come to any of those pages. And what people are, they keep talking about Donald Trump. Everyone keeps forgetting the first lady was there too. Hello.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Melania Trump was there. We keep focusing on him, but what about her? Did she take more pictures? Did she do some other stuff? We don't know. So Jeffrey Epstein was a horrible person.
Mm-hmm.
But who else? I mean, there's so many names, but the question is, what did they do? Right? But he is that man. If I'm going down, I'm going to take you with me. I would not be surprised if there are other names. So until we see something the redaction is taken off and understand what's what, I can't say. I mean, a lot of these people knew Jeff Epstein, but it doesn't mean that they were at his island.
Yeah.
Right.
Or it doesn't mean, but we have to find out what's what. And I'm not giving Clinton an excuse or anything, but we don't know. Did you see the first 50 pages? It's all black. What's the point? You're supposed to have transparency, right? Donald Trump campaigned on this. I don't see anything. So I'm like, what's going on? Pam Bundy needs to go back and fix this.
Yeah. Good luck.
Are you surprised at all about how long the Epstein story has dominated the news cycle? Like the fact that it just doesn't seem to go away no matter what else comes into the cycle?
Let me tell you what I am surprised about. I'm more surprised that these Republicans are breaking this. It wasn't a government shutdown. And don't get me wrong, pedophilia is terrible.
Mm-hmm.
Any abuse of any person sexually is terrible. Any trafficking, any bondage is terrible. It's worth. I don't even think terrible is the right word. I need something harsher.
Yeah.
But think about this. Politics is personal for people. And that pocketbook was hurting for 43 days, leading into the government shutdown. People were losing their jobs. They didn't have the lines to these food banks were longer than ever. Creditors' lines, phone lines, and were just blowing up. And they said the delinquency lists grew. But this is what could be the kryptonite for this unsuperman. 37%. Yeah.
And I think that's what Marjorie Taylor Greene, I mean, like, that's my gut about Marjorie. I think she saw the tea leaves. I think she was like, I'm backing out. You don't think so?
Well,
You think
let me say this. In Georgia is interesting. Think about this wave, that tsunami that just happened in the last election cycle. Georgia's not immune. And one of their prime industries is agriculture. A lot of those white farmers are upset. She's feeling the heat from people in Georgia. So she found a way to distance herself. She went too far. And he's like, something happened. He's like, girl, you better. She ran. I was like, Marjorie Taylor Greene, all that mouth she used to have. I'm like, where is it now? So I don't know. We'll see. I mean, everything is still unfolding.
Yeah. I know. It is interesting that, like, she turned on MAGA and all of a sudden she has death threats. It's like, oh, wow, interesting that, like, that's
Marjorie
where
Taylor Greene, join the club, join the death threat club. But, you got to figure this one out for yourself.
Sorry.
Girl.
Okay, this is not quite a death threat, but something that I really wanted to ask you about was last week Trump told a reporter, quiet piggy, which, like, set off the internet. And then he also, went off ABC reporter Mary Bruce for asking questions.
So that's a girl. You the hero of the day, the week, the year. And that's what reporters are supposed to do. And that's the problem. That's what reporters are supposed to do. And sorry for cutting you off. You're gonna say something else.
No. Well, I was gonna say, I have memories like distinctly during the Trump administration, the first administration, of him going after you. I want to play a clip, and then I want to like talk through.
Do we have to? Look, you're bringing back my trauma.
Okay, then we don't have to. Then you remember it. I just want to prove to the audience, like that man. I remember him going after you specifically, and like
why I remember very well.
Well, can you talk? Can you? I don't want to like bring up your
clip. We'll talk after.
Okay, we'll just play one.
Go play everything. We can go the whole show. Just play him.
Just play him going after you. Do we have that clip, Diana?
This is a very special place. You have to treat the White House with respect. You have to treat the presidency with respect. If you've ever seen him dealing with Sarah Huckabee Sanders, it's a disgrace. And he does it for, the reason. The same thing with April Ryan. I watch her get up. I mean, you talk about somebody that's a loser. She doesn't know what the hell she's doing.
Sorry to do it.
If you want to play another one, go ahead, because I'll respond. He was talking about Jim Acosta at first. But play the rest of, because I can tell you all about that one. I remember that day. I remember the day before. I remember. Play some more if you want. Go ahead. Play the.
I want to hear. Like, can you bring me back to that? Because I feel like when I saw everybody up in arms about Quiet Piggy and it was upsetting, I was kind of like, I don't know, like he's been doing this to April Ryan for literally a decade. Like, yeah.
Okay. So let me go to Quiet Piggy and I'm gonna go to that. So Quiet Piggy, it brought back flashbacks. It brought back trauma for me. And I had to sit there and deal with it because if you notice, I didn't speak on it for a while.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And what happened was during the first term, it wasn't just Donald Trump. It was Sarah Huckabee Sanders, Sean Spicer. All the little Trump minions got in on this. And he got this Black woman from HUD named Lynn Patton, who's now working at the White House. She was a party planner before she became the Honorable Lynn Patton, I guess. And she was working under Ben Carson. She went on social media. I think it was right after I had asked Mr. President, are you a racist? We don't even need to ask that anymore. She called me Miss Piggy on social media. And that morning, yeah. So last night they went after me putting Piggy up. Oh, let me tell you something. So I just said, okay, that's okay. I said, so this is in their style book, the Trump style book, like the 18th style book.
Yeah.
They've got a Trump style book of words, right? It's very gutter, very base, very underbelly kind of wordsmithing.
Mm-hmm.
But so it bothered me. And every time I saw it, and I said, oh, and the reporter's white. But when it happened to me, everybody's like, oh, it was like internet fodder, not caring about my personhood, my children, who wants their children to see something like that? And I had to always be, hey, how you doing? Even if it hurt me. So now let's go to, I'm a loser. Oh, child. Not only did he said I got a raise. I'm like, how do you know about my money? We don't know about your taxes. Who told you about my money? Said, she got a raise, and she's not in the world. And so that morning, I was actually getting my kids ready to go to school because we had a press conference the day before, and it was a post midterm election press conference, and I was like 2 rows or 3 rows from the podium. He heard me. My voice carries, okay? So I said, Mr. President, while he was picking on, calling on other reporters, I said, what about voter suppression? And he said, I've got your voter suppression. And he was murmuring. And so I stood up thinking he was talking to me. Sit down. I was like, oh, no, you won't. I'm a grown woman. Now, you're talking about Olivia Newsy. I'm older than her. I'm not getting into my age. But, I'm like, you're not going to tell a grown woman with children who's upstanding in their community to sit down. So I did, and I popped back up. I said, and he was like, "No, you sit down. You sit down." I called on him. I said, "But you addressed me." And you said, "I did not." I said, "Yes." And he started. We were going back and forth. So then, and that was the same press conference where they tried to say Jim Acosta hit a young intern, and he didn't. You remember that, and he didn't. Sarah Huckabee Sanders, who's now governor of Arkansas, they made a video to try to make it look like Jim hit the intern, and it didn't happen. That was a crazy news conference. So the next day, he was in his feelings. So they pulled Jim Acosta's badge. He was trying to say he pulled mine. I wish I still have my badge. My badge has never been pulled. And you know what? 28 years in, even if you pull my badge, I'm still gonna report on you. You know, I'm from the old school. My parents, working class parents, worked too hard for me to get into that space, never knowing that I would be in that space. Why would I walk away from my ministry, my gift of reporting? You know, I went to school for this. That's crazy. I started out in radio. I started out as a DJ, and I said, no, I don't want this. I want to go back to what I know, news. And I started news producing. I'm not new to this. I'm true to this. And I don't care what other people say, but today, I don't care what the MAGA folks say. I don't care what anyone says. I don't care who puts something out saying, oh, that April Ryan. Good for you. You blowing me up. So, and I'm not trying to get religious, but what do they say? My cup runneth over in the presence of mine enemies. I've got to have enemies so I can grow. So that's what I'm saying in that moment. So I'm not worried about it. And so compared to years ago, when they said Miss Piggy, I said, oh, you still on that 30% approval rating joke? 37% approval rating. I don't. It doesn't bother me anymore. But I did get a threat yesterday. Somebody said you better watch out or else. I said, oh, you threatening me? Oh, go on my yes. Did you see it, Meredith? Because it's all on Twitter. Go ahead.
I didn't see that one yet, but I was just kind of thinking a little bit about like how you have covered many presidents before this. And so you've interacted with a lot of presidents before this.
And
so
all of them liked me except for this one.
Well, that's what's kind of interesting here. And the thing that I'm really worried about for young people is like, for me, the first president that I remember is Bill Clinton. And like, he was quite affable. And like, you know, I'm not a huge George W. Bush fan, but like, you know, he was affable, yes. Right? So what I worry about is like, our young people are only seeing this. So I'm wondering, like, can you just give us a little insight into like, what did it used to be like to interact with the president of the United States? Was there kind of just sort of like a standard?
So before 9/11, we could walk around and run into him. I used to run into Bill Clinton and George W. Bush all the time, just walking. Last time I ran into a president by mistake was Biden in the press secretary's office. Because after 9/11, they started pushing us back a little bit. We lost a lot more access.
Oh, okay.
But they knew us. We knew them. We worked close together. They wanted to know what we were asking for the day. They knew who would ask this and that. And they knew, you know, let me give you something. I've had 4 American presidents tell me that I was at a state dinner with Biden. It was an African state dinner. I forgot the president, forgive me, but it was the African state dinner. And everybody was on the back. And then Obama came and said, April Ryan, I miss you. I was like, Mr. President. And then I said, can we get a picture? He told his body person, I'm only doing this one. And he took a picture with me and my husband. Then we saw Bill Clinton. April Ryan, how are you doing? I said, yes, Mr. President, how are you? And then Hillary Clinton was there. And he regaled my husband he said, this one kept on me about race and I needed it. You know, because he was having a race initiative at that time, and he really wanted to deal with it. That was the second term when Monica Lewinsky happened. It didn't get to its full prominence, but we did try. And he regaled on how good of a reporter I was. And George W. Bush told me a long time ago before he left, he said, I want you to keep on. He said, these people aren't your friends. He said, you keep doing what you want. Because she always talking about race. You know why I'm talking about race? Because we still have the highest numbers of negatives in almost every community. I mean, every category, not in every community, but yeah, still that too. And if I don't ask, sometimes others won't, you know, and especially back then. And then also, Biden said, you know, he told me one time, and this was the last interview I had with him. I said, sir, thank you for this interview, because they used to keep me away from him because they said, both you two together being so real, oh my God, they said, it'll break the internet.
Real Housewives of Potomac. Real Housewives of Potomac.
And he said, I said, sir, thank you so much, because they kept me away from him a lot of times because we just like, blah, blah, blah. He has said some things. I'm writing in a book. Oh my God, you're going to be like, what? So, I mean, my book is coming out in October of next year, but it's so crazy. So he said to me, he said, look, he said, you don't have to thank me. He said, you've been doing this too long. He basically told me, he said, you need to expect this. You don't take this like, oh, I'm grateful for it. I'm like, sir, I don't. He said, no. He said, you stay with it in your heart. He said, you're not here to do a click. And that's what he told me. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, wow, they see you. Mm-hmm. They see you no matter what. They are president of the United States, got world issues that you could never imagine on their plate. And they see this reporter. And I've had 4 presidents to tell me they appreciated me. 1 Republican and the rest Democrats. Well, yeah, the rest, whatever. Mm-hmm. I can't.
Yeah.
Yeah. You got it.
Yeah. But this one, my mother used to say, consider the source. And she said, it's not what they call you, it's what you answer to. I don't answer to any of this. Mm-hmm.
I'm curious what you see as the role of the White House press corps going forward. I mean, I feel like the relationship has changed, the way the has changed, the press corps itself has changed. What do you think the future looks like?
That's a good question. Role is still the same role. And going back to the question, I grew up when news was supposed to be unbiased. You're supposed to just tell the facts from all sides, all angles. Not just 2 sides. There's so many sides to a story. Yeah. And like, for instance, look at what's happening with this healthcare issue. Donald Trump is now working on healthcare. Republican conferences, are those 2 going to meet? Democrats are not meeting with any of them. So there are at least 3 or 4 sides right there, you know. But what I'm hearing and today I'm seeing, I don't like it, because what is now classified as a journalist are people who are sycophants and just praising the president when our founding fathers, who never expected an April Ryan to be in that press corps, trust me, I know they did. Yeah. They put the First Amendment, freedom of the press. And what people forget, and this is patriotism, right? What I'm doing that they hate is patriotism. What we are all doing that they hate is patriotism. Yes. Because when the checks and balances don't check out, Jonquilyn, you got 3 branches of government all in one mind meld. Mm-hmm. What's left? Mm-hmm. The independent press.
The Fourth Estate.
And we're supposed to hold them accountable when everything else fails. But now you have up there these sycophants, what he's done, making comments and all sorts of things, and trying to make everybody look bad instead of asking questions and getting answers. Because when you ask, something comes forth. You can see by the words, you can see by the body language, if they want to give the question, if they don't, if they're hesitating, what. Asking a question brings forth more than just the answer that you think you're going to get. So it's important. We don't have what we need. This has got to break before. I don't know how. Even if Donald Trump leaves, you have this new generation that thinks this is how reporting is. Mm-hmm. And you're supposed to be quiet and wait quietly. And sit quietly. No. You get out there and ask the question. There are too many people out here hurting. Black, white, Jew, Gentile, Protestant, Catholic. They need answers. And those presidents that I covered before knew that. And they respected me for that. I did it respectfully.
I saw you do that. We have to wrap in a second, but I do want to say I saw you do this with Caroline Leavitt yesterday in front of the White House, and she did not like it. She was not happy, and
I wasn't either.
You bristle her.
I wasn't either, because see, and this is what people don't know. Caroline doesn't call on me. And I was
I
told,
wonder why.
right.
why.
So you're outside. It's a free for all. Caroline doesn't call me, and I was told by someone who used to work there in the press office. They said, "Well, they feel they don't have to call." And I said, "Okay." I said, I got it." So I got outside. So when other people, I'm right there. You saw where I was positioned.
Mm-hmm.
She heard me, but she's going to go somewhere. I said, not today, sister. I said, "You're going to answer this question." And she said, "You were screaming." I said, "Yes, that's right." I said, "That's what reporters do." I didn't step on her answer to anybody, but while somebody else was calling out, I was calling out, doing what reporters do, because again, accountability. I said, "Is the president going to go after me?" I wouldn't call it going after, but the president has said that he hates his opposition. So she gave an answer. And they're going to try to appeal. But guess what? When you mess up the first time,
Yeah, good
it's
luck.
hard to fix. Yeah, so Tish James and James Comey may not have to worry about this again. Mm-hmm. So it's important to ask questions on issues, to find out what is in the mindset of the man who is the leader of the free world, the man who is leading this nation, the man who people question if he's mentally all together and if he's physically all together. We still have to know this country goes on, whether he does or his minions do or not. This country still goes on, and we have to get the answers.
Well, April Ryan, I love seeing you out there. I've loved seeing you out there for years and years. You are a true icon, and we're so grateful that you came here today. Where can everybody find you?
Everybody. Okay, so I'm a lot of places. So everybody can find me at Black Press USA. The White House correspondent, Washington bureau chief there. I also have my own show, The Tea with April, on Substack. I love that show. It's every Thursday at 5. We have some great guests. And the numbers are growing. My sippers, or whatever, we're trying to figure out a name for them. My sippers.
I like that. Okay.
You like the sippers? Okay.
I like the sippers.
Okay, good. As long as it doesn't have any kind of weird connotation to
I know, that's right. We'll have to ask RFK Jr. if
No. We don't go there. That's not my standard. So anyway, and he sipped something blue. He put something blue. What is that in his drinks? I don't know, but anyway, it's something that I don't sip. But and also, what else am I doing? I'm doing a lot. I'm everywhere. So I'm also on MS Now. Still on MS Now. So, and I'm writing a book. So just follow me on Instagram. Follow me on Substack. I'm around, and I would love to come back.
We would please love to have you. You are welcome back anytime.
Who's got the kid?
That's my dog. That's my dog, who fully agrees that April Ryan needs to come back anytime.
Thank you. I appreciate you guys. Thank you for having me.
Look,
I was up early. I was up 3 hours earlier.
Oh my God.
I'm getting on. Yeah, because I was ready. I had my little hat on. I was like, come on now. And I was like early, but yeah. Call me back anytime.
Thank you so much. Have a good day.
Guys. Bye. Guys. Bye-bye.
Bye. What a legend.
Yes, it's so amazing. I don't know. She's one of those people you hear about when you're like a journalism student and then you're in the game and you're like, oh my gosh, wow.
That's how I feel about her. It's like, to me, she sort of represents this, like, she does it right. She's so like got that old school sensibility that we talked about. And so then talking to her, you're like, my journalism nerd in me is like, April Ryan. All right. What's having a moment for you, Meredith? What's having a moment for you?
I think just kind of looking forward to having like a little Thanksgiving moment and all the fun that comes with that. Tomorrow I'm going to go to the dog shelter that I got my dog at, and I'm helping them do Thanksgiving meals for all the dogs that are there. And so I don't know, it like breaks my heart because my dog was in the shelter for Thanksgiving last year, and I'm like, oh my God, all these little babies. But anyway, I'm looking forward to doing that. So that's my moment, is going and helping the pups.
Oh, I love pups. Jonquilyn, what's having a moment for you?
Okay, so I am still on the platform formerly known as Twitter, and they recently rolled out this feature where you can find the country where an account is based, which, you know, sounds like no big deal. But when they rolled it out, people came to realize that a lot of accounts are not based where they purport to be. A lot of like the America First type accounts based in places like India, Nigeria, Europe, East Asia. There's also an alleged catfish situation. There's like this big account that goes viral a lot. It's from people accused of stealing tweets quite a bit. And, you know, they have pictures of a Black woman. And for a long time, people have been like, I don't think this person is who they say they are. And they've been able to go to the account and they see that it's based in India. And there were lots of rumors that the man based in India, and the new update did not do much to discourage that. So I got, whenever I see a hot take, I'm just like, where in the world are you? Where is this from? Let me add context to this. So it has added a little bit of spice to that app, I will say.
Yeah. Also, just like, that's so interesting, specifically America First. Like, okay, I guess, got it. Now
it's a platform that, like, far reach monetization. Like, of course, people are going to be encouraged to say, okay, what goes viral? What makes people upset? What do people want to hear? And yeah, they're going for it.
Wow. So fascinating.
I mean, I'll just say, like, before someone counters it, there's no way that this is all expats. It's they do exist, but like I can just see someone being like, you know what, my sister-in-law moved to India and she still cared about America. It's like, yeah,
she's America First. She's so America First that she had to leave America.
Yeah. But so, like, just, you know, it's not all expats, you guys.
Yeah, it's a lot of people being like, and I don't feel safe walking down New York City at night.
Yeah. Now that Zohran Mamdani has put in Sharia law.
Yeah, and it's like, this account is based in Serbia. What do you mean? Like, it's very... Even the way, like, people will be like, the account I was talking about, it's pretending to be like a Black woman in London, and people are like, no, you're not.
I wonder how they choose their identities. You know what I mean? Like, that's such a fascinating, this world.
Well, what's having a moment for you, Rebecca?
We touched on it a little bit at the top, but like I've been really haunted by the Tatiana Schlossberg essay in The New Yorker, where she talks about her battle with cancer. And like, I just thought that the essay was so it was so real and raw, and I can't stop thinking, like, I don't know, like, I can't stop thinking, I'm like, wow, she's 35, and 1 minute she was healthy and had her whole life ahead of her, was going to write a book about the oceans and just had a baby, and then the next minute, like, her whole life is about dealing with this now terminal cancer. And I just, you know, it's made me be like, life is happening right now. And like, you know, I spend as much time as the next person being like, what's not happening in my life? And why don't I have this thing? And then you read things like this and you're like, listen, life's happening right now and life is good and it's not promised. So, and also fuck RFK Jr.
Yes, definitely fuck RFK Jr. for so many reasons, but don't actually fuck RFK Jr.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Or just be safe. Just be safe if you're going to do it. That's what I would say. Well, you guys, we'll still be back here on Friday. A lot of people were like, are you guys still doing the show on Friday? We are doing the Friday show, and we're have here. Tracy Gilchrist, who is the holding space for the lyrics of Defying Gravity journalist, who I know, right? I think she's like the perfect example of how someone can take a viral internet moment and like not turn it into something bad. Like, she made it really fun. I've always thought that, like, she, like, I don't know, like, we found out we just like got this wonderful human who became, you know, a little bit more part of like mainstream media. So we're going to talk to her about queer media, but like actually queer media. And then we have Josh Bernstein, who is a comedian. He used to work for Obama. They call him the Joe Rogan of the left. He's going to be joining us as our guest host. It's our first cisgendered male to join the show.
Yeah.
So the bar is high, but I know that Josh will be able to achieve it. So But yeah, we can't wait to see you guys back. And Jonquilyn, we hope you'll come back again.
Yes.
Yeah, this was a key. I had a great time.
We loved having you, and thank you so much for being here.
Yeah.
Bye, everybody.